You fucked up big time. You're incapable of running this shit. Sit your $5 ass down before I make change.
My family used to play this movie so much. I actively avoided it, even up until adulthood. BET didn't make this easy at all. Yet and still, this movie is a classic and can't be denied. From the time the movie starts to the time it ends, it grabs your attention and it doesn't let go. The music, the looks, the one-liners, the messages in the movie, chef's kiss. This is one hood classic that has aged really well. With that being said, I noticed a few things while watching this movie, and you know I have my thoughts. But before we get to that, it's time to recap. So let's get into it. Honestly, this movie comes on hard as hell. I know the movie theaters were lit when this first came out. But we are introduced to one of the main characters of this movie, Nino Brown, and one of his henchmen who we'll call D-Man. I'm not saying his full name in this movie. They are hanging this guy over this bridge. This poor soul has gotten into some things with the wrong people, obviously. And you can just about guess what happened next.
See ya, and I wouldn't want to be here.
Nino Brown is ruthless AF. This movie puts us smack in the middle of the epidemic. We also meet Scotty, an undercover cop, and Pookie, a local drug dealer. For now. Scotty tries to buy some drugs off of Pookie, but as he shows Pookie that he's good for it and flashes the money, Pookie takes it from him and runs. They were running hella slow at first, and you would think that since Pookie grabbed a bike that he'd get away. Child, he was going the same speed. How you on a bike and dude is steady behind you? All Scotty should have seen was smoke. You on two wheels. Like, how does that work? But we get a very New York undercover chase scene, which is kind of ironic because two actors from this movie actually played characters in New York Undercover. But Scotty finally catches up to Pookie and arrests him. It's here where we see another character, Kareem, look on from the sidelines. Keep this in mind. This is important for later. We are also introduced to Nino Brown's right-hand man, G-Money. G-Money introduced a new product to Nino. This product was cheaper to make and more addictive than pure G hypes it up as the next best thing and tries to convince Nino to invest in it. We follow Nino and his people as they hit the club. Nino is clearly that guy. The whole club shifts as he walks through, and Scotty is also here, spying and trying to blend in at the same damn time. It's here where we meet Selena, Nino's girlfriend and Kareem's cousin. Nino holds a meeting with his crew. He formally announced that they will be launching a new product. He planned to take over a Harlem project, Carter. As for the current tenants of that same project, either they agreed to their new landlord and became loyal customers, or they became hostages. It was a lose-lose situation, basically. Nino planned to have one place to make the product and one place to collect the money. His only concern was Smitty, a current resident of Carter, who all the tenants looked up to. After hearing his plan, his crew is down with the mess.
Rock-a-blah, baby.
Nino paid a visit to Smitty and made him walk the streets, naked, at gunpoint, until he agreed to surrender to Nino's plan for the Carter. After Smitty submits, his crew bum rushes Carter and harasses the tenants to leave, and they set up shop. As we watch Nino take over, we hear Levert harmonize in the background. Honestly, it was a vibe. Out of all the tenants from Carter, this old man is the only soul brave enough to go to the precinct and complain, though his complaints aren't taken seriously. At the same precinct, Stone, another detective, meets with his boss to convince him to let him bring on Scotty and Nick, another undercover cop, to help him take down Nino Brown. His boss wasn't happy about his choice of comrades, but Stone is persistent about getting Scotty and Pedretti since he needs people that fit into the culture. His boss finally agrees. Stone introduced Scotty to Pedretti, and let's just say they weren't excited about working together. Scotty was unsure about Stone's mission to take Nino down and even more unsure about Pedretti.
This big bitch
biscuit head looking. Hey.
But that quickly changes. Meanwhile, Nino meets with Frankie Needles, one of Don Mateo's henchmen. The Don is mad that he's not getting his 10%. Nino tells Frankie that he's doing his own thing now, and if the Don doesn't like it, fuck him. You already know Don Mateo was not excited to hear this, but he decides not to act on it just yet. Child, we are reintroduced to Pookie, and he looks terrible. He walks up to Nino talking 50 miles an hour, begging for food and a job. Nino agrees to give him a job, but only if he sobers up. And just a quick thing I want to note, Nino Brown is a ruthless character through and through, but it's crazy to me how he did so much damage to the neighborhood and the people in it, but then turn around and feed them and give them money. Like it erases all the bad he's doing to the very same people. Nasty work. Later on, Scotty finds Pookie at this random drug house. Pookie admits that got him and he needs help, as if that's not already obvious, and Scotty agrees to help him. This help was torture though. It involved weaning Pookie off of a very addictive drug, dealing with the painful effects of that, along with attending counseling and addressing all the hurtful things he did to others to get high or when he was high. But after Pookie gets sober and in a better headspace, he begs Scotty to let him help him bring Nino down. Scotty is unsure at first, as he should be, because this man literally just got off the rock. But Pookie reveals a lot about Nino and how things work at Carter, how you get in, details about the workers, where customers go after they score their drugs, all that. We go back to Nino and his crew. They are at the club celebrating New Year's and the success of their new venture at Carter.
Am I my brother's keeper?
Yes, I am.
Am I my brother's keeper?
Nino and G-Money talk amongst themselves. Nino tells him that they have to continue to look out for one another and that nothing should ever come between them. Major foreshadow alert here. As they're talking, Frankie Needles arrives to give congrats and a gift from Don Mateo.
To the Moignon in charge.
Now, why did they think a gift like this would bring a response that wasn't this? The hell? During the night, Nino spots something he likes, Miss Uniqua, who is currently seeing G-Money. Remember, Nino is very much in a relationship with Selena. Later on, Nino and G-Money hang out with Uniqua. I'm gonna say her name like that every time. And Selena. Let's just say that Uniqua made her desires known and Selena wasn't going for it.
He ain't got no papers or a leash on me. Well, you know what happens when dogs don't have a leash. They run the streets and try to fuck everything in sight. Ooh.
As Uniqua gets up on the platform and dances, she gets Nino's attention, so much so that he could care less about checking in on Selena. She had to prompt him to do so. It's only a matter of time before these two go at it. Selena goes off on him. She complains to him that he doesn't value her or their relationship. All this goes in one ear and out the other. Nino lets it be known that he's gonna do what he wants, and she would just have to deal with it, basically. We go back to Scotty. Stone was not here for Pookie being involved. Obviously, he's a huge liability. Dude is freshly sober and fragile. They need video and financial records, which Pookie believes he'll be able to get if he goes in. Everyone finally agrees to let Pookie go undercover. This was the dumbest decision ever. They wire him up, give him the camera belt that was hella obvious, and send him in. It wasn't long before Pookie is promoted to the drug room. Again, dude is freshly sober, and they are putting him in the drug room. And then these dudes knew he was freshly sober. They saw him at his worst. So you have to question why they put him in there in the first place. Pookie is able to resist for a short time. He really did try, but eventually he gives in because duh. He shows out on the clock, which gets the attention of G-Money and Kareem. They discover the wires and the camera belt, and it was a wrap for Pookie.
Scotty, help me! I'm gonna die!
Let's go!
After realizing they've been cooked by Pookie, they torch Carter and everybody and everything in it, including Pookie. And while all of this is happening, what is Nino doing? Child, Nino and Uniqua were, well...
Yeah.
I told you, it was only a matter of time. And it didn't take long for G to find out about it either.
I knew I should have treated you like a hooker. You ain't nothing but a high-priced hoe.
G Money delivers the bad news, and Nino tells him to bring the crew in because obviously he has questions. Everybody plays dumb at this meeting. They are all terrified, and they should be. Nino is on 10, and he's pissed at everybody, but especially G Money.
You're incapable of running this shit. Sit your $5 ass down before I make change.
Nino was so pissed about Carter that he stabbed Kareem in his hand and admits that he never liked him anyway. Ciao. Nino is disappointed in G and his anger at him for poking his girl. He can't believe that he's letting this come between them. All this makes you wonder if the shoe was on the other foot, would Nino be this understanding? Absolutely not. Anyway, this starts a rift between the two that was big enough for someone to come in. G also starts getting high on his own supply around this time, which also contributes to his poor decisions and emotional reactions. After Pookie's funeral, Stone tells Scotty and Pedretti that he doesn't believe they can take down Nino. Scotty still believes they can get Nino and plans to do just that. Scotty is surprised to learn that Pedretti is just as committed to getting Nino as he is. We learned that Pedretti had a soft spot for Pookie since he too was a former drug user. He wants revenge for Pookie and people like them. The first step to their plan was to get Frankie Needles to set up a meeting with G Money. G Money agrees to a side deal where he gets 20%. Dude agreed to work with them mighty quick. That rock got him making bad decisions already. When Scotty visits G Money at a basketball court as he's playing with Nino and his crew, Nino was not down with the new company and runs him off the court. Kareem feels Scotty looks familiar but doesn't remember where he recognizes him from. G tries to convince Nino that Scotty is trustworthy and has good product, but Nino still has his doubts. He warns G that if Scotty turns bad, that he would not only kill Scotty, but he will kill him too. Whole time, G is not taking this threat seriously. He's too busy getting high. Nino plans to keep Scotty close until he knows for sure that he can trust him. Later on, Nino talks one-on-one with Scotty. We learn how Nino got started in the game. He was challenged to kill an innocent person to join his first gang. Nino, high as hell on time, picked an innocent woman walking down the street. Scotty realizes that the innocent woman was his mom. Nino Brown was his mother's killer. Scotty doesn't react to this news. He instead stays in character, but I bet that was really hard to do. But this gives Scotty even more reason to see this through and get what they need to nail Nino. Scotty continues hanging with Nino. He hangs with him as he visits the neighborhood kids and hands out money to them. Again, damaging the community at night and giving out charity during the day. Nasty work. Old man comes in to get his grandson and the other kids away from Nino, and he also gives Nino a piece of his mind.
Gather around you like you God Almighty, like you love them. Devils ain't got no love, man. You killing your own people.
This interaction ended rather quickly, though, after he pulls a gun out on Nino and Scotty stops him from shooting him. Say what you want, old man had heart. He could have killed him early on, because Nino's guard was down. Nobody expects an old man to be with the shits. Later on, Scotty tells Nino that G Money set up a side deal with him. He's slowly trying to make Nino doubt G and trust him. We go to a wedding that Nino oh so graciously hosted for the Reverend's daughter. Meanwhile, Pedretti sneaks into Nino's place to search around. Nino is having a grand old time flirting it up with the ladies, while Selena sits back accepting that she can't do anything about it. Nick finds a safe, and inside the safe were financial records on disc. Checkmate. As the wedding is ending and everyone is heading out, Don Mateo's men, disguised as caterers, show up and try to kill Nino. And Nino pulls a trifling move by grabbing a child and using her as cover. Scotty tried to take him out, but stopped when he did this. And this is where it was solidified for me that Nino didn't care about anybody but himself. Not his crew, not his community, nor the people in it. Again, nasty work. The only person in his crew that had a little heart was Keisha. Everybody else was ducking and hiding, but Keisha was with it. She gets shot up though. Pola Tink Tink.
Rock-a-blah, baby.
After everyone else escapes, they headed back to Nino's place. Selena was over Nino and his actions.
You're a murderer, Nino! I've seen you kill too many people, Nino!
You just now realizing this? Girl, really? Child. It wasn't long before Don Mateo called to gloat, and it wasn't long after that before Nino returned the smoke to him. Nino is shook after this and starts losing his grip on his business. Meanwhile, Scotty, Pedretti, and Stone meet with a prosecuting attorney. She tells them that what they have isn't enough to get Nino. Scotty tells her that they have arranged a setup with Nino to buy drugs from him and that Nino no longer trusts G Money. It was only a matter of time before Nino went down. We fast forward to Scotty delivering the drugs to Nino. With everything that's happened, Nino is on edge and doesn't trust Scotty. It's here where Kareem finally remembers where he recognizes Scotty from and lets Nino know that Scotty is a cop. The deal goes bad, of course, and there's a shootout. Pedretti and Scotty are able to get most of Nino's crew, but they are unable to get Nino and G Money. After the shootout, G Money goes to talk to Nino. He tried to apologize, but Nino was over it. He complained about G Money's bad decisions and the fact that he was doing drugs. He could no longer trust him.
Whatever happened to, am I my brother's keeper, huh?
The world is mine. Everything is mine. Everything!
G finally realized that Nino was all for self. Loyalty was his for the taking, but it wasn't something he could ever give in return to anyone. Not even someone he once considered a brother.
CMB, man, we all we got. I, my brother's keeper. Yes.
Absolutely not.
Rock-a-blah, baby.
Meanwhile, Scotty is still trying to track down Nino. They find him at this random apartment building holed up with this broad. She doesn't value her life at all. Scotty tries his best to get Nino. When he finally gets him, he was ready to make a bad decision for a good cause.
This ain't business, bitch. This is personal.
Pedretti, Stone, and even Selena convinced Scotty not to kill Nino. We fast forward to Nino's day in court. It's all a shit show. Selena testifies as she promised she would do. Nino even admits to some of the things he'd done.
I mean, not one of us in here owns a poppy field. This thing is bigger than Nino Brown. This is big business.
He's kind of right, but he still participated in the destruction of his own community. So, yeah. And his ass got so desperate that he tried to pin the whole operation on Kareem. This whole trial was a mess. Nino still was able to plead to a lesser charge and walk free. And of course, everyone was shocked because, what was all this for at this point? As Nino walks out the courtroom, happy as hell, thinking he'd gotten over on the system once again, and probably set to call a hitman on Selena's ass, in comes old man to do a good deed.
Your soul is required in hell!
And it was a wrap for your boy.
Rock-a-blah, baby.
Pedretti was happy as hell, and Scotty was like, it is what it is. And that's the end of the movie. And here are my final thoughts. I always knew that Nino was a tyrant, but now that I'm older, I can understand just how sinister he is. This man willingly sold drugs to his community, took over a housing project by removing the tenants or forcing them to be a part of his operation and making them addicts. Then he would turn around and give money out or feed the same community he was actively trying to kill. He cared about nobody. He wanted everyone around him to have this undying loyalty to him, but everyone was up for dismissal at any time. You had Keisha, who was down for all the mess, but the only thing she got in the end was death. You had G Money, who saw Nino as a brother, but Nino still slept with his girl and tried to make him look incompetent in front of the crew, and he dared him to do the same thing back to him. He cheated openly on Selena, and he dared her to leave or do anything about it. He took a child and used her as a shield. That man was ruthless as hell, and let's acknowledge the fuck up that was having Pookie involved in the takedown of Nino. Now, even though Pookie knew a lot about Nino and was helpful in that way, I still can't believe they set Pookie up like that. Dude was 3 minutes sober, and y'all thought it was a good idea to send him in there to be around all that temptation, and then for G Money to promote him to the drug room. Pookie? I gotta say it like Soulja Boy. Pookie? That made zero sense to me. Let's also acknowledge the self-control that Scotty had when he found out that Nino was the one who killed his mom. I don't think I would have been able to keep it together after hearing that. But this is still such a good movie that sadly still is relevant as it was then. Now, instead of it's opioids, child. And the victims are more diverse, but it's still just as sad and unfortunate. Anyways, that's it for this review. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. For the next review, all I'm gonna say is, this movie annoys the hell out of me. 2005, made in Memphis, and it's a come-up story about a pimp with a dream, man. See you next time, you guys. Bye.